transition to our next topic. It's the worst of the worst.
Oh, no. I'm a little worried about this one. So, Curtis, I was like the other day, I was sitting there and I was like, I don't remember what it was, but something pissed me off. And I was like, God, that makes me mad. And I was like, man, I would love to talk about it on the podcast. And I was like, dude, I literally immediately voice messaged Curtis. I'm like, let's do a segment where we can just straight up say things that piss you off. It doesn't even have to be gaming. Anything.
And you don't get pissed off very easily, do you?
And it's like very dumb things that piss me off. I mean, yes, there are things, obviously that make me mad. But there's like my first thing in here as my biggest one, I'll just start. Paper straws.
Dude.
I hate them.
Yeah.
With a passion. Although I'm
there.
I'm over like 150 days, whatever it is, sober from soda now. But when I was drinking soda, when you gave me a paper straw, I don't think that I even could look at it without just like my blood boiling. Nothing tastes good out of them. Everything tastes worse, A. They get flimsy in seconds.
Yeah.
And the funniest thing is I've seen them put the paper straws in plastic, which defeats the purpose of taking away plastic to put straws in.
There's a lot of peas in that.
Pixel podcast, people.
No, I mean, it was funny. Like, right when you said that, you were ready. Like, you were already mad. Like, thinking about it, dude.
Paper straws is one of my number one things that angers me. Don't give me the lecture about what it does for the. There's dumber things and stupider things that we're wasting our time with. Paper straws just really grinds my gears.
I think one of the pet peeves that I have is people who cut in line.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I could be in a line and at an estate sale or anywhere like in Disneyland, and if I see somebody that I know didn't wait their turn, I want to just karate chop their arteries.
Dang, I'm a line cutter.
Yeah, dude.
If I can, and not get caught.
But it happened at the
I'll
last.
try to.
In a car, absolutely.
No,
Like if
but-
I'm
You
at an amusement park,
whiz in and out.
Yeah, there's that too. That annoys me. It annoys me at the same time if somebody else cuts. But if I'm at an amusement park, I'm like, man, how can I cut this line? Like, if there's any little shortcut.
No.
And me and my brother, when we were younger, used to try to
paper
find.
straws too.
Chris has done that, but there was this one lady that walked up with me and Tony, and we definitely showed up before her, and we left after we put our name on the list. And as we were walking away, this lady walks up and she goes, "Oh yeah, how's it going?" Trying to chop it up with us.
Oh boy,
right? And I guess when she was in front of us while we were walking away, she crossed out like a couple of the people and put her name above it.
No way.
Yeah, and then she was trying to be like, "Well, I didn't I was here before them," and I was like, I was boiling. I was literally like, "Are you kidding me? Like, you couldn't wait just two more people?"
Estate sales recently have been like almost on the like cusp of like fist fighting.
Yes.
Because there's been more and more of that. And I don't cut in line when I'm at estate sales. I don't cut in line all the time.
all the time. Yeah, all the
Only
time.
when
Stuck in.
amusement parks is one.
He uses
That's
a
about it. If I'm at amusement parks, I'll
What
try
about
to
SoCal
find.
Gaming Expo?
I mean, when we went most recently, remember, we were like, dang, the line was like 200 people long. Now, we didn't cut. But we found the manager who got us in front of the line, which is technically like cutting, but we didn't wait in line.
I mean, it depends. I will say, like, the first time we ever went to like an event, like when we first started YouTube, I remember waiting in line. And this isn't to be whatever, but like the manager walked by and it was Brooke at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And we didn't know her, but she knew us. And she's like, "What are you doing in line? Get over here." And I was like, "Wee."
I would rather somebody cut, but like, don't do it while I'm there, right?
What do you think about line savers, though? Is that, like, put it this way, how do you feel when you're, let's say you're in a estate sale, right? Or even worse, you're at the...
I'm looking at him right now. The
why are you
line
talking about
savers. The lines, he uses a redheaded mop as a line saver.
Poor Blake.
Oh, man.
I'm just kidding, Blake. I love you,
He
man.
can sleep
we
in.
did this recently at an estate sale. Oh my gosh, I don't even want to say it.
And then I got waxed on this shirt, dude. I'm feeling it. I bought it from Blake, and I was like, dang.
Yeah, that's right. You were there. Tony was there.
Oh.
I was second in line.
It's been festering, dude. I'm
But I wasn't second.
It does piss me off when you're like just standing there, or say you're even like at a store about to order food, and then all of a sudden you're like, "Sweet, there's only two people in front of me," and then all of a sudden you hear the door open behind you, and the guy in front's like, "Oh," to their friend, and it's like a team of 14 soccer players. And you're like, what are you doing?
Right.
Chris?
yeah, I feel the animosity between me and him right now. I'm just kidding.
Ben, what pisses you off?
So when you buy something off of eBay or somewhere like that,
This is going to be another one Chris does. I can already tell.
so when the seller like wraps the item in like bubble wrap, and then they tape it. Like, why do you have to freaking tape it? Just fold it in such a way where it's not going to fall out of the bubble wrap in the package.
That is a weird pet peeve.
There's two reasons. Do you do that?
I taped that. Heck
Oh
out of
my
that bubble wrap.
God.
Yeah,
It looks like a bomb when it's done. It's like a kilo.
Because then there's two things. Like the first thing is you have to worry about like cutting your item out of the little bubble, and then the other thing is you can't reuse the bubble wrap, so you've just wasted. You know, we're like, you could just reuse it for if you're...
Look into his eyes, bro.
I think it's more of him just like having to not be able to reuse the bubble wrap because you can literally get into an item, just do this.
Bro.
Real simple.
Be careful, though.
Ben, I will admit, has the hardest time letting go of like, not only video games, he'll like come to our house and be like, oh guys, I have these boxes. And I'm like, dude, we can't use them. They're like 7-foot boxes. He's like, I know, but I don't want to throw them away. And I'm like, Ben.
They end up getting thrown away.
He comes with the Home Depot
But at least I didn't have to
boxes.
see it get thrown away.
What were you going to say, Chris?
I don't know. Do you guys not use, when you're wrapping stuff, you don't use plastic?
We don't
like go. We just tape it.
I use a little bit of tape, but I'm not like where you're like basically like C4 right there. Like I'm not doing that.
It's C4, all angles, all the way around.
I have to know what pisses you off then.
Mine is in negotiations. This bothers me to no end.
Okay.
All right. When somebody has something and they say, oh, I want to sell something, right? And then you say, okay, well, how much do you want for it? And they go, make me an offer.
Okay.
And then you go, I right away I get annoyed with it because I'm like, okay, now I have to guess.
Okay.
Okay. So then I guess and I say, okay, would you say maybe you take 200 for it? And they go, oh no, that's way too low. Then I'm like, why
did you
am
tell
I
me to make an offer?
guessing if you know?
You had a range.
And then the next question is, okay, 200. What do you want? Oh, I'd like at least 400. Why didn't you just say 400 from the beginning? So that always annoys me with the guessing game of that. If you have an item you want to sell, you have a price in mind. Everybody does. Unless I approach you and I say, man, I really like that shirt. And you're like, not for sale.
Got it.
But maybe if you made me an offer, then it's acceptable.
Yeah, what's your I have to let it go price? I don't want to let it go.
Where like
price.
you're like, I don't want to sell it. Okay, well, what if I offered you 500? Would you take it? Then it's acceptable. But when you approach me and say, oh, I want to sell this, that to no end bothers me. I'm sure you guys have dealt with that before.
Totally. I've recently started, even with some people, I think it was with the jackets. I bought like this shirt and like a couple jackets from a buddy of ours. And I think I just saw everything. I was like, hey, let's like cut the negotiation. What's your actual low? Like right now, like what is that number to where you would have been like, okay, fine. Like, give me that number. Let's just get there. And then he gave the number and I was like, all right, let's do that. That sounds fair. Because yeah, I don't mind them saying, give me an offer, but it's the attitude after when you give them an offer and they're like, oh,
yeah, you try not
I wouldn't take that. You're like,
oh, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, you try not to insult people, but it's like, I don't know what you really want. Like, this is how much I'm willing to pay.
And 9 out of 10 times if somebody says, well, make me an offer, well, then you're like, oh, shoot, where do I go? Like, and you're going to go low.
Yeah, you always say, I don't want to offend you, but
yeah, it's
$10. Yeah.
No way, that's ridiculous. Well, you told me to make an offer, so that that happened with me recently on a really expensive Nintendo game. Actually,
Which one?
It was a stadium event.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was asked to make an offer, and I was like, okay, and I made an offer, which was in the thousands, but
1,000.
Wait,
1,001.
No,
rule
it
of
was
thirds,
thousands.
300.
So 2,000.
Yeah.
No, it was thousands, and I felt it was a good offer, but then that was the response that I got. Like, whoa, what are you talking about? I'm like, okay, well, what do you want?
I mean,
40,000.
40.
that's. I'll be honest right now.
For loose?
Yes.
Can I say something? I'll be honest.
Condition-wise, it's...
Not trying to offend anybody, but I've been to multiple conventions the past year. That's the highest price I've heard on it.
Yeah.
I've seen multiple copies. Again, I still think it's too high. In the 30s, like listed, like 30 grand at an expo.
There was one just listed like a month ago.
Less.
For 16, right?
17 or something.
I think it went up for 18.
Then maybe pull that closer to you so they can hear.
Yeah, I think there was one on eBay that came up at 18.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and
it did sell. It sold like the next day.
Was it Dusty?
Yeah, it was gone.
I don't know who it was.
now, if it was an NWC cart, I'm gonna tell you right now, you better offer up on that, boy. I'm gonna tell you right now.
Gray or gold?
There was a one found at a half price books or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Or book off or something
Half-price
like that.
books?
Yeah, and like an employee found it, and I was watching this YouTuber. He was talking
that's
about how there's only 150 made, right? And this one that came up had a different number, and it was like finally in circulation now that it popped up, and the guy said that he told the employer, so the employer did the research and they put it up. I mean, if I was that employee, I'm getting fired that day. I'm leaving, dude.
Oh, you're just taking off of the game.
Dude, they sold it for like I think 40 or 50,000.
Wow. This is at Goodwill, you said?
This is at a half price books or book off, one of those two. But they had it up online and it sold immediately.
There was some controversy to that story because he had posted it on Reddit and he didn't know what to do about it at the time. And so like people were telling him like all kinds of crazy stuff to do. And then he like took it down. He took that Reddit listing down for what I remember.
Yeah. But
there was pictures of the cart and they're all individually numbered. So if that cart ever got out in the wild, they would have known how it would have got there.
Yeah. So that was what's crazy. If he didn't say anything at all, he would just have an uncirculated cart.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what's insane about that stuff. So, hey, Ricky, did you have a pet peeve, sir?
Oh, I got too many. I just don't want to get into them.
No, we need to hear it now, dude.
Sausage.
So this one might actually be my fault, though, but I'll do a swap me one for now. So when you pick up some items and they're like, oh, 10 each. And so you grab the one thing you want that you know is worth about $30 and then you take it up to them. But, you know, I can't hide it. I usually have a smile on my face like, yeah, I'm about to.
You were bad at hiding it.
Yep.
And then they go, oh, sorry, the others are $10. This one's $40. They'll even go above like asking price. I'm just like, yeah. And I know in my head I'm the one that got myself into that, but either way, dude, it happens all the time.
That kind of plays into like the Chris one, but like that one they actually know the price.
What I'll do to combat that sometimes is if they're like, you know, there's 20 games on the table. Hey, they're 10 each. And I know I'm grabbing the one that's worth 40 or 50. I'll also grab like a jank one on purpose and bring that up with it. And kind of be like, all right, 10 each, here you go.
Goes, how much for this basura?
Yeah, how much for this? And I just basically kind of, you know, they see the games. I'm not trying to hide anything. But I think it just takes away when you're game hunting and a vendor sees a Mario, a Pokemon, a Donkey Kong, a Pikachu, anything like that in the cover, their brain thinks, oh, it's worth money. So a lot of times I'll be, you know, like I've said before, grab a Madden game and just be like, all right, here's my garb. And just go for that.
And that's what I usually do. I'll grab like all the garbage, like how much? Oh, 10 each. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Well, I didn't want these. Here you go.
You might have to take the L and just buy both to combat that.
Now, you said you had another one. What was the other one?
Oh, we might have gone through this, but I started calculating this, how much it's been costing me. It kind of pissed me off.
For what?
All right. So no matter where I go now, I feel like even at certain grocery stores, they ask if you want to tip, even though they're not doing anything for me.
Grocery store?
Oh, yeah.
I've seen it on the grocery store now. Wow. They're doing it at grocery stores where like, oh, would you like to add a tip? I'm like,
everywhere.
I'm sorry, did you bag my stuff? I bagged it myself.
I saw a guy did a video on that. I think it was Michael Knowles or something.
Yes,
where it was like
it was something like that.
He went to an automated. There's no employees. He went in there, brought his food up, paid for his food, everything, put in the credit card, and it's like, would you like to tip us? It's like, who am I tipping?
But even at the food Google doing this, I'm like, what?
The software developer that made this.
Yeah, who am I tipping? Yeah, so, that definitely grinds my gears too.
It's not only that, but like also like when you're just standing there at like, you know, Starbucks and they're like, oh, would you like to tip?
Yeah.
Or if you're taking your food to go, I still tip regardless. But
we know Chris doesn't. We've talked about that.
But I just hate it when they're just staring at me. I'm just like, oh God, it's like a horrible feeling.
Oh.
So I think I calculated. I think on tips, I was looking. I think it's like I spend like close to like $100 a month just on tips. I'm like, wow. Dude,
I like the feeling of like just like tipping like the homies like at the restaurants. Like I go to Bonsai Bowl like every day pretty much.
If they're gonna pick up my food, cool. Yeah, I'll tip them. But if I have to pick up my food, refill my drink,
you're tipping like, AI.
We already talked about the tips, boys. We're good on that.
No, yeah. I have one. This actually is probably my number one. To where like, you know, when you ever think a thought and you're like, man, I can't believe I just thought that dark.
You ever think?
Don't act like you guys don't. You've thought things in your life where you think something, you're like, oh man, I can't believe I just thought that's pretty dark.
Yeah.
When people speed through neighborhoods. When they speed by going 45 by my kids who are playing, I'm like, hope they get in a car accident and I watch them. I hope I watch their car flip and them struggle to get out. And I'm just like,
yeah, but I think that also hits like personal because it's like somebody actually hit a car from yours, right? At night.
That did happen in my neighborhood. Literally, I went on Valentine's Day out with my wife. And I had a Honda Element at the time, parked it out in front of my house. And my parents called me and said that they just got out of the car with my kids. And seconds later, a drunk driver hit my car and it flipped it over to the next door neighbor's house in their front yard.
Wow.
And my kids were just in there. Wow. And I was like, I could kill this guy. I could kill him.
And I know,
and it's those moments where you're like, I think I could actually kill you.
Yeah, residential neighborhoods, I mean, that's not really that cool to speed. Exactly. There's kids everywhere. A kid could easily pop out from a car and...
I just got back from vacation, and we were in some pretty populated, like, touristy areas.
Yeah.
And we're walking down the street. I mean, there was hundreds of people on the side of the roads, and all of a sudden you just hear squealing tires and somebody just burning out, ripping down the main line. And I was like, what on earth are you doing? Yep. It was like 2 seconds later, like an old guy, like pushing a cart with like something on it, like walked out. I'm like, that guy could have just gotten smoked.
And it happens. It happens daily.
There was no reason for it at all.
Wow. Yeah. When we were younger, my dad, sorry dad, I'm ratting you out. When we were younger, it used to piss him off too. And my dad used to give us rocks. And when we play in the front areas, if a car speeds by, chuck a rock as hard as you can at their car. And we used to do it. Chuck out their car.
And I work in the street, so it's like people don't slow down even though I have an orange vest on. Like they do not care that I'm
speed
in the
up
middle.
if they see the orange vest.
Oh yeah, you know what I usually do? Like
10 points.
I usually hold out a hammer, just like enough at like arm's width, like just in case.
So it clips their car.
Yeah, I'm like, if you go close enough to me, you'll feel it on your car.
And I want to make it clear, we're not promoting violence. We're just promoting violence.
This was in my private days, I promise. So, but I mean, like, you know, there's also another pet peeve that I have is it's not even about people. It's just being in traffic when there shouldn't be traffic, man.
Oh, like it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
But people like literally will, it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, or like there's like a speed chase on the other side, or something's on the other side.
Rubberneckers.
And everybody goes.
Rubberneckers, yeah.
And they just slow down. And it backs up so quick.
I agree. Now, let's be honest. Do you look too?
No, I want to go.
Turn, yeah.
I am a speed racer.
By the time I get to it, and I'm just as annoyed as you, but by the time I get to it,
I might as well see them skip back.
All right, now I waited. It's my
Everybody else did it.
It's like when we talked about cutting in line. You're like, I already waited in line. I'm getting the show.
Yeah, I might as well see the show now. So
I think I get so mad because I just see red lights like all in California, like in LA area. As soon as it hits 2 p.m., you know that it's just like, dude.
I mean, let's be real. We live in California. The traffic is pretty much garble. And
if there shouldn't be traffic, there's nothing going on.
Versus when we go in Arkansas over there, it's just like, dude, free roll, like nobody's around.
But
like,
we did almost get killed.
That's true. They were probably drinking and driving.
I don't know. They were honking.
How about people who don't put their shopping carts back?
Why are you looking at me like that?
I don't know. I was just saying in general. I was just saying.
I always put it back.
I needed eye contact when I said it, so I didn't stutter.
It doesn't make me mad per se, but I am a big believer. Now, I will say this. This is almost like a parenting thing. Something that gets me angry is when I'm with parents and their kids will like mess up the store or like purposely not put the cart back, and then the parents will say to the kids, oh, don't worry, it's their job to like clean. And I'm like, you son of a gun, what a horrible thing. Like, yes, it is their job to clean. Yes, they are getting paid to clean, but yes, you should teach your kids common courtesy, common respect. Like I've actually been I've noticed us as a group, when we go out to eat, I've noticed we're all very aware of making sure the table is like better than we left it. Like, oh, make sure you grab that, fix the chair. Okay, like we're always. And that's like not giving us like tooting our horns. That's how it should be.
Proper manners.
Proper manners.
Common sense, man.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things is like, there was a YouTube guy who goes and actually puts bumper stickers on
Cartnarks.
Dude, that guy's the funniest.
That's 98.7.
Yeah. He's gotten me to start putting carts back.
Yeah,
over the years. Because I'm always like, man, I don't want to be caught. The guy that
Somebody runs up, why didn't you put that back?
Chris leaves his cart out and he's like, looking around left to right, like,
yo, imagine he got a bumper sticker on the Corvette. I know Chris would be pissed, dude.
Is there like the kind that don't pull off too? Right?
Yeah,
that's the
East
worst.
Coast side of you would just instantly be like, "Are you serious, dude? For a cart?"
I see. This is a topic that a podcast segment I'd love to be returning because I feel like it's so easy to get lost.
There's so many things.
There's so many things, but I don't want to blow it all now.